I hope everybody's realized by now, these masks make a difference. We are on the cusp of being able to fundamentally change the nature of this disease because of the way in which we're able to get vaccines in people's arms. We've been able to move that all the way up to the end of May to have enough for every American, to get every adult American to get a shot. And the last thing we need is the Neanderthal thinking that in the meantime everything's fine, take off your mask, forget it. It still matters. I carry a card with me, I don't have it, I put it on my desk. As of yesterday, we had lost 511,874 Americans. We're going to lose thousands more. This will not occur. We'll not have everybody vaccinated until sometime in the summer. We have the vaccine to do it. Getting a shot in someone's arm and getting a second shot, you're going to take time. And it's critical that they follow the science. Wash your hands, hot water, do it frequently, wear a mask, and stay socially distanced. And I know you all know that. I wish the heck some of our elected officials knew it. So thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
Just so we're clear, the Texas and Mississippi governors eliminating mask mandates now, only a few months before the vaccine will be fully available to all Americans, is the equivalent of not looking at the road anymore while you're driving because you're only a few blocks from home. It's getting rid of your umbrella in a downpour a block before you reach the office. It is sending the fire department away before the fire's out because, hey, only 20% of the house is still on fire. Whatever analogy you use, the point remains. The job isn't finished, and taking away the protections afforded by a mask will only serve one purpose: to make people less safe. Think about it. Until everyone can be vaccinated, the single most effective tool we have in terms of reducing the spread of this virus is a mask. No one's asking you to paint your face purple and shave your head. Just wear a simple piece of cloth over your face. That could be the difference between life and death. If not for the people making the conscious decision not to wear a mask, then at least for those who they come into contact with. If someone wants to be reckless with their own health, that's one thing. But what about the frontline workers and essential workers and healthcare workers? The people who've kept this country running over the last year. They deserve the minimum of respect that would come from not having their lives put at risk by people who've opted to treat a pandemic like it was no big deal. Part of being an American, a patriot, is that we don't endanger the lives of those around us. And by the way, the idea that I have to explain this to the pro-life party is a testament to just how off the mark that title actually is. One would think that a political party predicated on protecting the sanctity of life wouldn't also be the party undermining the simplest step humanly possible to prevent the spread of a virus that's already killed more than 500,000 people. You would think that that party would be the first to adopt any and all measures that could help people survive. It's almost like, and bear with me here, the GOP isn't actually pro-life, but just uses that as some empty platitude to hide behind to feel morally superior. Consider too, we're in the home stretch. After a nightmarish year, we have only a few months to go before the vaccine will be available to all Americans. Here's Joe Biden just yesterday announcing that the full supply would come 2 months earlier than expected.
As I've always said, this is a wartime effort, and every action has been on the table, including putting together breakthrough approaches. And today, we're announcing a major step forward. Two of the largest healthcare and pharmaceutical companies in the world that are usually competitors are working together on the vaccine. Johnson & Johnson and Merck will work together to expand the production of Johnson & Johnson's vaccine. This is the type of collaboration between companies we saw in World War II. We also invoked the Defense Production Act to equip 2 Merck facilities to the standards necessary to safely manufacture the J&J vaccine. And with the urging and assistance of my administration, Johnson & Johnson is also taking additional new actions to safely accelerate vaccine production. Johnson & Johnson's vaccine manufacturing facilities will now begin to operate 24/7. In addition, we'll continue to use the Defense Production Act to expedite critical materials in vaccine production, such as equipment, machinery, and supplies. I've also asked the Department of Defense to provide daily logistical support to strengthen Johnson & Johnson's efforts. And I want to thank Johnson & Johnson and Merck for stepping up and being good corporate citizens during this national crisis. Here's what all this means. We're now on track to have enough vaccine supply for every adult in America by the end of May. Let me say that again. When we came into office, the prior administration had contracted for not nearly enough vaccine to cover adults in America. We rectified that. About 3 weeks ago, we were able to say that we'll have enough vaccine supply for adults by the end of July. And I'm pleased to announce today, as a consequence of the stepped-up process that I've ordered and just outlined, this country will have enough vaccine supply, I'll say it again, for every adult in America by the end of May.
Meaning that we may return to normal before this summer. But the only way that occurs is if we can achieve population-wide immunity. And that means not only getting everyone vaccinated, but stopping the spread of the virus too. Because the more it spreads, the more chance it has to mutate. And the more mutations the virus undergoes, the more likely it'll be resistant to the vaccine. So just because the vaccine is here doesn't mean we're out of the woods, because the virus is still changing. And if it changes enough because of dumb steps like repealing mask mandates, then that in and of itself can render the vaccine useless. And if the vaccine doesn't work, then we're right back to square one, meaning we could watch another 500,000 Americans die needlessly. That is the result of backwards decisions like that of the Texas and Mississippi governors. The most disingenuous part of all is that these Republican politicians are doing all of this under the pretense of freedom. But you're not any more free just because you're allowing a virus to spread during a pandemic. You're just a danger to society. Just like you're not any less free when you have to wear a seatbelt in a car, it is a rule put in place to increase the likelihood of everyone's survival. Freedom doesn't mean you get to do whatever you want, so let's not conflate freedom with a free-for-all. We're part of a society, and certain rules have to be followed to ensure safety for the majority of people. That might limit one person from doing anything and everything that might pop into their heads. That is why we have laws. But then, of course, certainly the law and order party doesn't need me to explain that to them, right? The fact is that I'm not a modicum less free, and I've worn a mask every waking minute that I've been away from home. The difference is that I know I've kept myself safe, I've kept those around me safe, and I haven't helped spread a virus, wittingly or unwittingly, that may have, at some point, landed someone in the hospital down the line. I don't need to grandstand about being pro-life, I don't need to grandstand about being pro-law and order, and yet, miraculously, just following a simple step is actually more pro-life and pro-law and order than those who make such a show of refusing to wear it. At some point, these Republicans should realize that it's less about pearl-clutching and more about the example that they set. So good on Joe Biden for calling this backwards move out for exactly what it is, and shame on these governors for not only making this country less safe, but doing so while we're right at the finish line. So we can hope that the virus doesn't mutate and render the vaccine ineffective, and if we're lucky enough for that to be the case, it'll be in spite of those Republicans who've only made it that much more difficult. To see more videos like this, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel and click the notification bell. And please subscribe to my podcast, No Lie with Brian Tyler Cohen, where I not only break down the biggest stories of the week, but I also interview major players in the world of politics, including Vice President Kamala Harris, Elizabeth Warren, Nancy Pelosi, Katie Porter, Pete Buttigieg, Cory Booker, Jamie Raskin, and many more. Again, that's No Lie with Brian Tyler Cohen, available anywhere you listen to podcasts.